Today I'm going to talk about the protests going on in Delhi from last 2 months involving tens of thousands of farmers. Let me just clarify, this protest started months before it came to the country capital, Delhi. Initially, separate states like Punjab, Haryana, UP, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu and Odisha were already discussing these new farm laws. 2 months ago, these states became united, calling it Kisan Ekta, and decided to come on grounds of Delhi. This was the only way to have a larger impact against the three laws. Over the span of months of peaceful protesting by both men and women and their children, government agreed to repeal the two laws, which was to drop amendments to electricity ordinance and excluding farmers from new pollution laws. However, this was not given in paper. Later, government decided to go back on their words. Major statements coming from these farmers living at the protest sites involved that this is not a fight for religion, they are not fighting against a government party, it is solely a peaceful protest against the farming laws. They do not like their protest getting twisted in media platforms. They feel extremely upset seeing it getting tied to religion in the first place. In this video, I would like to talk about the current situation at the protest site and in the parliament. Here, we're looking at the strict actions being taken by the state police. There's up to 12 layers of barricading and fencing encircling these protesting people. We can see everything from concrete barricading, barbed wires, metal spikes cemented into the ground, and police holding metal swords. They are guarding the protesters 24 hours. Protesters are completely shut off from making any movement. The ladies, who often came in and out of the site for cooking reasons, or even left to use toilets or other needs, are now completely shut off from moving. People in the protests are saying that the government is creating the situation so the protests will die down. Yet, these people are ever so determined to live through this as well. Other reports even compare the conditions to Indian-Pakistan border. It does not just stop there. Hear this out. The government decides to cut the internet supply along with the water supply for these protesters. Delhi state decides to dig out the routes to protest grounds so that their food cannot even reach the protest site. We can see clear violation of human rights to yet another level. People protesting are now sensing fear. Reports of over 100 people missing since the day of tractor parade. The journalists who were covering the farmers' protests have been picked up by the police for investigation. The media is getting denied access to the sites. Why are people being picked up? The farmers say government is fearing international involvement. I would like to ask, is it okay to portray yourself as a democratic state to appease the global stage when that democracy does not even benefit common people? Farmers are ever so determined to keep peacefully protesting. They're deciding for blockading roads and stopping the traffic on February 6th for 3 hours. They still believe they can be heard. Let's shift gear to what is happening in the parliament. The impact of Kisan Andolan was seen in the parliament. Many opposing parties rose to BJP and asked for a discussion on the farmers' protest. However, the chairman denied the request. After seeing this, many MPs walked out in despair. Despite the efforts like cutting off internet by the state, people around the world are becoming more and more aware of this protest. Canadian government is openly speaking on the situation and how it can be better handled, as well as other people are comparing it to different protests around the world. I hope after this you are more aware of the current situation in Delhi. You can choose to speak, because staying silent is choosing dictatorship.